Okay, hi everyone. I hope you can all see me and hear me. Welcome to our webinar and thank you for joining us. Usually before we start, we like to ask our attendants from where you are listening to the webinar. So I'm sure we have an audience from all over the world. So if you would like, it would be great to post in our chat tab just where are you joining us? And yeah, that would be great. So while you are doing this, just to introduce our speakers today, I'm Marina from Product Marketing here in Rocket.Chat. And today with me are Christopher, Rubens, and Pierre. Rubens and Pierre are our partners from Fabulor. And today, three of them will present on this webinar. So Chris, Rubens, and Pierre, if you could just say hello to our audience before we begin, that would be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everyone. Thank you for carving out time today to join us. So my name is Chris Skelly, and I handle the product function here at Rocket.Chat.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rubens, and I am the CTO and co-founder of Fabulor. I'm really happy to be here sharing this webinar with you again. There you go, Pierre.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pierre Locus. I'm a software developer at Fabulor, so I'm working very closely with Rubens. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. You will have more time to speak, so I will just go through agenda briefly. Why we organized this webinar, it's really no surprise that conversational experiences are becoming a part of any web and mobile app we use every day. Our expectations as consumers, first of all, evolve quickly, and we all now expect to be able to chat with our favorite companies, with organizations, and communities seamlessly with just the click of a button, right? So as a result, in-app chat is no longer nice to have, it's an imperative. So today we are here to show how we can help and share some common use cases around building and implementing in-app chat, and go through some latest implementation that we did with our partners that are kindly decided to join us today. At the end of the webinar, of course, as always, we will leave time for question and answers. I hope we will have enough time to answer all, but in case we don't have, we will manage to reply somehow. And feel free to ask your questions during the whole session. I think it would be great for you to post questions in this questions tab next to the chat, because it's much easier for us to follow everything and make sure that we answer all. But if you have something to post in chat, that's also fine. I will try to moderate as much as I can. So yeah, that's it. To not waste more time, because we have a lot to say today, I will just leave it out to Chris, and Chris, the floor is yours. You can take over.
Okay. All right. Terrific. So I'll dive right in. I'm going to be covering a little bit of background relating to in-app chat use cases that we see, why organizations more and more are using Rocket.Chat to power their in-app chat experiences. And I'll talk a little bit about the tools, the capabilities that we bring to the table to support these types of implementations. And then I'll hand it over to Rubens and Pierre, who we're thrilled to have here today, who have actually been working on a number of these types of applications as a key Rocket.Chat partner. So we can get into some of the details. So, you know, as Marina was saying, in-app messaging experiences are everywhere. You know, whether we're contacting our driver or our delivery person when getting takeout food, or chatting with an instructor, participating in an investment forum, or, you know, pre-screening employees and contractors for open positions within our companies. We now expect those experiences to happen, you know, in line with the apps, the systems that we use every day. And there are a number of reasons why, of course. First, conversations are very engaging. It's a great way to engage users. Providing that inline education and assistance to participants is a great way to build loyalty. It's very convenient, and it delivers value very quickly. And that all translates into loyalty that helps to grow your community, grow your business, make your operations more efficient. So in terms of, as I mentioned in my introduction, I handle the product function at Rocket.Chat. And one of the fun things about product work is sometimes you have a very clear vision and you deliver it fully packaged to the world. In other cases, like what we do at Rocket.Chat, we deliver a set of tools. And then oftentimes we see and we learn from how partners like Fabulor and customers and community members use those tools to create new things. And in terms of in-app chat, we've been seeing a huge number of cases where organizations are creating experiences using the tools that we provide. So we're very happy to be able to give you guys an overview of some of those cases today. As I go, I won't get too far into technical weeds by any means, but I'll try to provide an overview, and I'll also try to highlight some of the things that we're continuing to work on as we go. Okay. All right. So in terms of common use cases, for an introduction, let's talk for a minute about why organizations choose Rocket.Chat. And two key things I want to highlight. First and foremost, for any of you who have attended other webinars or Rocket.Chat functions, you will hear us talk a lot about the imperative for organizations to own their conversations, own their data. So there are a variety of SaaS solutions out there for powering in-app chat experiences. With Rocket.Chat, you have the ability to install on-prem in your own data center, on your own servers, in your own private cloud, and run your workspace. You own the workspace. In fact, you can even have Rocket.Chat host your workspace, but it's always your workspace. It's portable. It is fully owned by you and your organization. Your conversations and your data belong to you. So that's one of the primary reasons that we hear from organizations for using Rocket.Chat. The second thing, which is really important, is using Rocket.Chat to drive in-app messaging experiences, allow you to stay focused on your mission of your organization. So whether that's your business or your community or your school, you can stay focused on what you do best and really leave that messaging chat infrastructure to Rocket.Chat. So now in terms of use cases, we see three broad groupings of in-app chat use cases. So the first one, community discussions. There are a wide variety of communities and forums that run on Rocket.Chat. A couple different varieties to be aware of. First, Rocket.Chat provides a wide array of white labeling capabilities. So we allow you to fully customize the visual presentation of Rocket.Chat for your users. We enable you through permissions and roles to control what's displayed and what's available for users to do within their messaging experience. We even control the sounds and notifications that you can use. You can fine tune any of those to match your branding, to match the experience that you want for your users. So within community discussions, we see white label implementations, fully branded for the particular community or forum. And we also see custom interfaces, which we'll talk about as we go. With every implementation, you have the option to proceed with white labeling Rocket.Chat or developing a custom interface. We see both with community discussions. Second use case, marketplace communications. These are participant-to-participant interactions within existing web and mobile apps. I mentioned a few, whether it's contacting your driver for a ride share, or delivery personnel, or any similar interactions. Same as what I talked about with community discussions. You can implement these as a white label solution or by developing a custom interface. One of the important things to think about, I think Rubens will probably talk a little bit about this. In some cases, organizations will do both. So they'll white label, get to market quickly, get feedback, get a proof of concept in play, and then develop a fully custom front end for their applications, which requires more work effort, but allows you to tune the experience even further. Okay. And then the third use case, which is a little bit different, is service provider communications. So communications between service providers and end customers. So an example there could be a building services company and their tenants. Could be between a medical practice or hospital and their patients. There are a whole variety of different cases. And the reason that these ones are a little bit different is just like the prior two use cases, where organizations can make a decision between white label versus custom interfaces, two additional things come into play. First, organizations can enable additional channels so that their customers, their students, their patients can use whichever channel they prefer. So they can activate web chat as the interface for outside customers to use. They can enable SMS or WhatsApp. A whole array of different channels can be activated, with the key thing being the service provider can have a fully custom integrated messaging experience that ties in closely with their servicing systems. And then the end customer can choose the channel that's most convenient for them. And then lastly, Apps Engine. So Apps Engine, for those of you who are not familiar, is our development toolkit that we make available to developers to extend the capabilities of Rocket.Chat. So using Apps Engine, you can create your own apps that work seamlessly with Rocket.Chat, and you can do one of two things. You can either publish those to the marketplace, or if the app is being created to support integration with one of, say, your own systems, so your CRM, for example, then you can use that as a private app. So it's a very convenient, encapsulated way to extend the capabilities of Rocket.Chat. And we see that, for example, with in-app messaging experiences for things like looking up customer information in a CRM or another operational system. Okay, so those are three of the general use cases that we see. All right. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to keep things fairly high level, but I'm going to go through 6 key considerations for planning projects and thinking about what your project might look like. Then I'll end with a summary of some of our capabilities and hand things over to Rubens. So first thing to think about, time to market. Going back to the previous slide, I mentioned that we support both white labeled implementations and custom interfaces. Key thing to think about, white label approaches can get you in the market with a proof of concept very, very quickly. A custom interface will take more design effort, will take more engineering effort. We provide the back-end tools to support support custom interfaces. So our REST API, of course, is available to support whatever front end you develop. And then our SDK as well is available. But to be clear, it's limited to a specific topic. The SDK exists specifically to enable your organization, if you choose to use a custom front end, to manage WebSocket connections. So being able to authenticate, create the WebSocket connection, subscribe to a feed, reconnect, and then disconnect those connections. All of those capabilities are available. Key thing, time to market. Think in terms of white label proof of concept, followed by custom interface. Okay. Second key consideration, Rubens and Pierre will be touching on this. customer-facing channels. Give some thought to whether your use case involves kind of core service provider personnel and then an outside constituency like customers, patients, et cetera. If you have that outside constituency, keep in mind that you may want to activate additional channels that are convenient for those participants. Okay. Third key thing, extending Rocket.Chat. I encourage everyone to dig into Apps Engine, get an understanding of how Apps Engine works. A couple of key applications relating to in-app chat. Apps Engine can be used for essentially custom authentication and verification using customer data, so that when a customer initiates a conversation or a community member initiates a conversation, you can create an app that does lookup against their customer or account information to verify their identity. So that's one interesting use case. You can also, when a conversation is initiated, look up data in your CRM or other systems to help support the conversation. That way, if you think about that building tenant versus building services provider situation, when the conversation begins, being able to look up information about that particular tenant makes it easier for the service provider to offer, contextual, valuable input in the conversation. Okay. All right. Last three items to note: managing users in rooms. So to talk about this for a moment, Marina, I'm keeping an eye on time, so tell me if I run over at all.
You're okay.
Okay. All right. Terrific. So a note on rooms. When we think about in-app chat, in Rocket.Chat parlance, every conversation is a room. And so if you're creating one-on-one conversations between your customer service rep and a customer, or you're creating a particular topic channel within a community that you're creating, each time you do that, you're creating rooms. Then you're also creating users, and you're associating users with those rooms. All of those activities can be driven via our API. And also in terms of automated provisioning of those users and their permissions within your messaging experience, those things can also be managed through our LDAP and SAML identity management capabilities. So I encourage everyone to look into and investigate those as well. Okay. Permissions and roles. So Rocket.Chat provides really fine-grained permission management and the ability to create as many custom roles as you want. So at last count, I think we're over 900 different individual permission settings. That can be daunting, but it provides a ton of flexibility. So you can build a wide variety of custom roles. And Ruvens, as we go through, I think that'd be a great thing to touch on in your presentation. Permissions and roles, again, are vital for helping you to customize Rocket.Chat to enable users to do what you want them to do within their messaging experience and nothing that you don't want them to do. Okay, so that's an important part of the planning. And then lastly, administration tools. So, when we think about in-app chat, we're talking about those visually white labeled or custom interfaces for supporting your messaging interaction. Keep in mind, a big driver for organizations to use Rocket.Chat to drive those experiences is that the Rocket.Chat administration tools are still available. So you can have the most custom front end you want, but keep in mind that your admins can use existing capabilities, whether it's our engagement dashboard or data loss prevention or other capabilities within Rocket.Chat admin to make sure that your experience is well managed, well controlled, and well secured. Okay, so those are 6 things to think about. I know I'm throwing a lot of information out there. Before I kind of jump on to the next slide and hand things over to Ruvens and Pierre, one thing I'd like to mention, feel free to reach out to me on open. I'm happy to direct people to members of the team. I would love to see the conversations relating to the growing number of in-app chat implementations to continue to expand. So today we're covering somewhat of an overview. I'm sure people will have questions about the technical details. Feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Ruvens and Pierre and others, and we'll help however we can. Okay. All right. So in conclusion, the Rocket.Chat toolkit for supporting in-app chat implementations. 3 key things, 3 key imperatives that I encourage everyone to think about. First, own your conversations. Yes, I know there are SaaS tools available, but keep in mind that using Rocket.Chat, you can have an on-prem installation. Regardless of your degree of customization, you always have access to robust administration and monitoring tools. You have the fine-grained permissions and roles to make sure that you keep everything properly controlled and secured. Second, building on a proven platform is really important. Our REST API is extensive. Our JS SDK is, again, limited and focused, but a great tool for managing those WebSocket connections. Our live chat widget also has the ability to be customized in terms of behavior and appearance in a variety of ways. And then also our LDAP, SAML, OAuth 2 capabilities enable you to manage your authentication, your user provisioning, however you need to for your particular organization. Okay. And that lastly, ensuring extensibility is super important. So if you do have outside constituents, think about activating omni-channel apps. The fact that you have an in-app custom experience for some users doesn't preclude activating WhatsApp or SMS or web chat for a group of users. Keep in mind that Rocket.Chat also has an extendable user schema. So as you think about apps engine development to pull in customer data, for example, you can effectively cache that data within custom fields within the user data. And then the last thing to note, we haven't really talked about automated conversations much, but as a reminder, Rocket.Chat is provider agnostic in terms of bot providers. So any situations that you have for in-app chat where you want to have automated conversations for routing or other activities, please keep in mind that you can use a variety of bot providers, and Rocket.Chat and our partners are happy to point you guys in the right direction on that. So with that, I'll stop talking here and hand things over to Ruvens and Pierre for the interesting part, which is talking about some real world examples of this.
Hey everyone, so we are Fabular. We are one of the partners in the EMEA zone for Rocket.Chat. Most of our work is dedicated to integrations that you have seen out there already in the public environment like Nextcloud, etc. But today I would like to come to place to one specific case, and is what we did, what we're doing actually for one of the largest real-time healthcare patient engagement platform in the whole United States. So to put it in practice, the case is the customer needed a secure HIPAA-compliant real-time chat platform enabled to engage conversation between patients and practitioners. Can be doctor, nurse, the staff in the hospital, doesn't matter. And in this specific case, they reach out to Rocket.Chat because it has what they need. They were HIPAA compliant. That's not all the chat open source environments out there that they have these certifications. Besides the security part, besides the encrypted or the end-to-end encryption part, this is an element that hospital and healthcare, they really are looking for. Then the part where, as Christopher said, that they could host it in their existing cloud environment, and they could scale up the Rocket.Chat, and it's all over the United States and all over the cloud. That was also an important part. And obviously, they need a product that they could flexibly transform in what they need, because they were already using some other providers. So they are already using other providers for certain channels, but they would like to transform the chat environment. So in this, with these needs in mind, we came up with the solutions where we will have to obviously build a backend, but we will also build an app, an in-app inside the app engine of Rocket.Chat. So how do we delight this customer? Well, together with their in-house DevOps teams, and we build the most secure and complex, but yet easy to use for the practitioner and the patients, in order to engage in a flow communication that comes from SMS, and it ends up into the live chat of Rocket.Chat. Obviously, we did transform the live chat. This is something that is great about Rocket.Chat, is that we have access to the code, we have access to what they are doing, and not only that, but thanks to Rocket.Chat, and we could easily communicate with their DevOps teams as well, and come up to build and have support and access to build even new features inside the core engine of Rocket.Chat. The results, well, the results are there. We still having the customers, and they're very happy to it. The first MVP has been a great presentation for even their own customers, and their own customers keep asking for more. So it means that the project itself, we can easily say that it is a success itself, and that everybody is very happy. The scalability with Rocket.Chat and the apps that we have done for them are working, and all the part and engineering from network specialists from Rocket.Chat have been really great, collaborating with the customer itself as well as with us. So in that sense, when you are engaging to develop an app on top of the app engine of Rocket.Chat, remember that you are not alone. You have the team of Rocket.Chat supporting you. It's something that you won't find directly in other products. And this is some kind of enterprise level that ensures the health sector to acquire products and transform products like Rocket.Chat to their needs. So with that saying, yes, the possibilities with the app engine are limitless of what you can do, what you cannot do. I will go ahead and speak a little bit more about that. But what we, in terms of, in general parts, what we did is that we successfully request some of the parts that the customer needed to Rocket.Chat, and they implemented again to the core. And all these new features that the customer were asking are now available to everybody else. So that's another great possibility, which means that the main features that you may need for your product or for your end product, it can become maintainable by the core team of Rocket.Chat as well. That ensures the customer that his product is going to have a continuity and a support, doesn't matter what. Finishing with that, let me explain you guys what we exactly did for this customer. We cannot go very obviously into many details because due to the nature of the customer. And for that, there is our lead software engineer, Pierre Locus. So go ahead, Pierre. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Rubens. Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too much into technical details, but yeah, Rocket.Chat lets us create a lot of different flows, and as Ruben said, the possibilities are limitless. One of the flow we could easily integrate thanks to Rocket.Chat is that we have an SMS provider that actually sends message to a backend we did in Node.js. And this backend talks directly with Rocket.Chat through the APIs, the endpoints of the API that Rocket.Chat made. I have to say, the endpoints are very complete. There are a lot of different things we can do. We can really manage everything in Rocket.Chat through the API. Then we made a Rocket.Chat application, so with the App Engine, that lets us change the UI as the customer needed. We could change, not only the design, but also adding new features in the UI. And this application is also able to directly talk with our Node.js backend. So we have a kind of circle that is closed, but that lets us like manage the front end, manage the back end, and do everything with Rocket.Chat in between. So we have all the capabilities of Rocket.Chat, and we can add front end and back end capabilities to all that. It lets us also use the third party that the customer is using, and then we really have like no limit to what we're doing, because we can use all the third parties, all Rocket.Chat, all that in one place. And yeah, that's one of the flow we did here. And yeah, voila. that's kind of fast, but here it is. Floor is yours, Revens.
Thank you, Pierre. Great explanation. So just to finish, working with Rocket.Chat or becoming part of the family of Rocket.Chat, it's been great for a company like ours. I mean, it's been allowing Fabular to be involved with 400 to 500 companies in the US, European governments as well. And it's so far the experience of not only developing apps for the app engine of Rocket.Chat or for the core itself. It's been really fun. I can say this honestly. It's been really fun. It's been exciting, and in the business opportunities, it's been a real beneficial for our company, and only we are just happy to become or belong to this family of open source community that is Rocket.Chat. So this is it from us, and I'm pretty sure that there is a lot of questions that you guys would like to do. Unfortunately, certain details about this specific case we cannot go into it. But if it's not about this specific case and related with the app engine itself and what else we have done with it, we will be happy to answer it. So, Christopher, the floor is back to you, and thank you very much for having us here.
Okay, no, that's really great. Thank you for the overview. I know there are a lot of questions, so Marina, I'm gonna touch on several that I can group together from what I read. I haven't read through all of them, so let me
feel free, and I will just jump in case I see that we are missing something. And yeah, thanks everyone for the great presentation.
Yeah. Perfect. So a couple of things to respond to. I saw there was a question relating to essentially front end frameworks in terms of React components, Angular libraries using Flutter. So at this stage, really important thing to note is we are not yet at this point offering a front-end SDK of pre-built components. And that's intentional, simply because we have such a wide variety of different organizations with different needs on the front end. It's something that may change over time, but at this point, we've generally been working with our customers and partners who are creating their own. As Ruven said, as you get started, if you are thinking about the fully custom front end approach, please reach out, and we are here to help support the effort. And we're also interested in your feedback on on that in terms of front end SDK, some of the things you would like to see. We would love to get some of that feedback. So that's one important note. I think I saw a question also relating to files and support for files in messaging interactions. And yes, that is two things to note. That those capabilities are core to Rocket.Chat. When you white label Rocket.Chat for a branded experience, those capabilities are also available. If you are developing your own front end, of course, you have to have the appropriate front end handling for files and other attachments. And then lastly, in permissions, we enable you to also control, have control relating to what kind of file types, et cetera, you want to allow. So hopefully that addresses that question. And Marina, I haven't read the rest of them.
Yeah, there is a lot of questions, so I will also try to go through it. I see that Rubens also tried to help us out with some answers. Rocket.Chat has a way to export metrics. So he also replied to that one. So Chris, if you have something to add, like messages incoming, outgoing, metrics per department, app, integrations, and so on.
No. Yeah, and so on here, a couple things. I think I'm looking at the same question that as Ruben said. One of the reasons why our API exists, of course, is to extract the data that you want to. So we do recommend that as an approach. Keep in mind, you also don't want to DDoS your own workspace and overload with API calls at key times. Also, of course, the data on the back end is Mongo data that is queryable as you see fit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving to another question, has Rocket.Chat been deployed and integrated with third-party case management systems in youth mental health public services organizations? So
yeah, let me touch on this to start, and then Rubens, I'm sure you'll have some comments as well. It kind of ties into the apps engine topic. I love the way, Rubens, you framed it as the possibilities are limitless with apps engine. I'm gonna steal that. One of the reasons for that is apps engine has been recently expanded by the team to support NPM packages. And with that's what drives a ton of flexibility in terms of custom code for interacting with outside applications. So the short answer is yes, that Rocket.Chat has been integrated with a variety of ticketing, CRM systems, et cetera. Usually, there are three routes to go. One, if you have the right engineering team on board, that is something that we provide the tools that they will be able to handle those interactions themselves. Also, as a reminder, you can contact a Rocket.Chat partner like Fabular, who are very well versed in those sorts of interactions. And then also we do have professional services support through Rocket.Chat that can help guide those efforts as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Chris. And the second one is, do you also have integration packages for React and Angular?
Yeah, and that's what I was touching on before. No, at this stage, we're kind of used the agnostic term a couple of times, but since we have we have a good amount of demand for React components, Angular, Swift, and other different front end frameworks. We have not gotten into the business of creating those as standard components. We may in the future, but not at this stage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have another question related to Flutter, but you also talked about that, and Bert shared some links, so I don't know if we...
Yeah, and on that, I'm not super familiar with Flutter, just so you know, but again, our our APIs can interact with Flutter front end components, absolutely. On the SDK side, again, that is a specific, limited, focused SDK for managing WebSocket connections. Not being familiar with the particular use case here, but that's something to look at, of whether Flutter front ends can interact via WebSocket. And if so, if needed, we'd be happy to kind of look into that with you guys.
Mm-hmm. So we started to develop some apps and have problem with debug. Is it possible to debug app online, meaning debug after upload app to server using Rocket.Chat apps?
I'm not sure that I'm fully understanding the context. Is it in this particular case? Is this that that you've created in a private apps engine app for integrating with outside?
Maybe Alexander can provide more context in chat or something, so we can follow up on that one.
Okay. Okay. And Revens, I'm not sure if you or Pierre want to talk about your testing approach for the apps engine development that you've been doing.
Actually, we don't do step by step. I don't know if that person is wanting to know if we can use debuggers, like step-by-step debuggers. But what we mostly do on our side is just logging what we need, what information we need, and in the administration you have the logs, and you can find every log you add in your application. So that's how we debug, because we've never had to look for a step-by-step debugger. So if one day we have to, we'll certainly look for it, but meanwhile we're just using logs.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you. We will see if Alexander will provide more about that question. But moving forward, can uploaded files of a service job in rooms be assigned to specific file paths that are created by us? So if we mentioned that already, feel free to let me know.
Sorry, I'm just reading here.
Yeah, I think that yes, you can use any file path or even any file system commonly out there. So you can storage in basics on Rocket.Chat as a basic storage all the documents in the MongoDB database, but you can also specify that it can be stored in an S3 or on your local server as it is. So you can specify a path in the local instance where you're hosting Rocket.Chat as well, and from that point forward, you can also mount those points in Linux and make the files that the users are uploading into the chats into other applications. That's in the administration panel. Just go ahead there and search for files, and you're gonna easily go ahead and reach out where you can specify which type of file system you want to use for whenever the users upload any files and the conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we also have some comments and help in chat from other participants. So also for everyone to check out. And Bruno, yes, there is a specific section for questions. You can also all check it out there. There are some answers and links to additional resources. But yeah, we're trying to go through it all. And sorry if I will miss something, but moving back to questions, there is really a lot. When will the new Rocket.Chat UI be released? Not sure.
In terms, I think that's if you're referring to front-end component libraries. At this point, we don't have a date on that, and we have not, to be clear, made a determination on whether we will deliver front-end components. The reason for that is organizations who are building custom interfaces so far, as I mentioned before, there are a variety of different front-end frameworks to consider, and each organization has tended to want to manage that process themselves. Again, something we'll always revisit, but we don't have a date at this point. And Rubens, maybe that's a good opportunity for you to talk a little bit about some of your experiences, because as mentioned early on, the white labeling approach versus custom interface, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. Sometimes they're phases. So you deliver a proof of concept with white labeling and then use that to craft the plan on the custom interface. Rubens, I'm wondering if you could talk about, whether you've seen key limitations with that first phase for white labeling.
Yeah.
And also, I'd love to hear your thoughts also on your planning for the custom interface developments that you've been doing on various projects.
Yeah, sure. For example, white label, let's say that you want brand Rocket.Chat with your company logo, with your company colors. You want to change some icons here and there that you can easily do with CSS. So for that, you have a section in the administration panel that is called layout, where you can basically change all via CSS as much as you want. There is also the assets where you can also rebrand that part, but you also have your custom scripts where you can add or put on top certain buttons or to do certain actions. Then it comes the limitations, where you may need more functionality, extra functionality into the chats, into the omni-channel, new things. Is in that moment where you absolutely need to go through the app engine. Number one, the main reason is because, yes, you have access to the whole open source code of Rocket.Chat, but you don't want to temper it. So you can still receive your updates, your security patches, etc. So what you want to do is to build the app on top, tell the administrator all that you are going to tamper with the UI. So if he wants to accept it or not, once he installed your app. And then you can start adding controls into the text boxes that sends messages, making functions, reading the events that Rocket.Chat is doing. All that has the possibility to be done through the app engine. And that's fascinating because then you really don't have, you can really transform the product without touching its core. You can add the controls you need. You can close channels if you are trying to use channels in a more dynamic way with your CRM. You can even integrate or embed your CRM inside Rocket.Chat. That we have done it as well. So your CRM becomes part of the Rocket.Chat environment, or you can do it vice versa as well. So what you can do is that you have your CRM or your ERP platform, whatever it calls, and then you can embed either the whole Rocket.Chat or parts of Rocket.Chat, and then start using it as a dedicated chat or a chat room inside your application. That's also possible, and it's really also nice to have as well. So that doesn't limit you at any cases. Yes, you can do more customizations via the API as well. But in terms of what is white label and then what is transforming the way Rocket.Chat behaves internally, that's the two difference that I found on customers. So white labeling is easy. You don't need to invest too much time to it. But when the customer requires that certain behaviors or the original behaviors from Rocket.Chat must change or adapt to their needs or their existing platform, then you need to go to the app engine, and it will be you can create your own endpoints that Rocket.Chat doesn't have in that moment, and it will make the interactions with your existing platforms more easier. So that's my feedback for the community today, and this is what we have been experiencing on our daily basis with customers. So there is my personal feedback to the community. Thanks you, Chris.
No, that's great, and a really good way of looking at it. That it's 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 a little bit more nuanced than my two-phase approach of white label versus custom interface. And it's really white labeling, then thinking about customizations driven by apps engine, which, as you said, are limitless. A lot of flexibility comes into play there, and then finally, of course, full custom interfaces. So really good clarification.
Yeah, thank you both. I think we have time for one more question. It's really great to see that much interest and your questions. We will not be able to follow up now with all of it, but we will follow up via email after the session. We will export all of your questions and reach out. And also, as Chris said at the beginning, I think you can also reach out to him and ask additional questions. I see there are also some specific use cases here for some people that are probably need more discussion. So I think there is a few ways to also tackle that after the webinar. So the final question from Max. Previously, we found admin accounts unable to manage rooms they weren't participants in. This added great complexity to managing private rooms between users. Has any work been done recently on improving the ability to manage Rocket.Chat externally via API in this way?
Rubens, you may have run into some of this. I'm not sure. I'm
not following as well. Sorry, can you read me again?
It's a bit long question. So previously, we found admin accounts unable to manage rooms they weren't participants in. This added great complexity to managing private rooms between users. Has any work been done recently on improving the ability to manage Rocket.Chat externally via API in this way? If it's not clear, we can ask Max to add more context.
That helps.
Okay.
So on that, yes, from an admin perspective, that is a challenge that people have reported, and we are looking at that. I believe that via API, we can show you how to solve that. It should be primarily an admin front end issue. So I'm not sure who had asked that, but I'll take that as an item to circle back with clarifications and an answer on how to handle those situations where the admin is not a member of the room that they are trying to manage.
Okay, great. So we will have to close this up, but we also posted a link in chat. If you want to talk about this topic and your use cases and implementation more, feel free to reach out to us over this form and talk to our experts that will really tackle your case and share as much as detailed answers and help as they can. I think that will be really helpful. But as I said, for the rest, we will follow up over email, definitely. Basically that's it for this webinar. I think it was really a great engagement, and thank you all for joining us and asking all those questions. And thanks to all speakers and our partners for joining us and presented on this webinar. We have probably many more coming, and one of them is next month on April. During the last month, Rocket.Chat and Nextcloud have announced an integration between the two platforms, with the goal to join forces and create a comprehensive and complete open source collaboration tool. So in this session, we'll have experts from Rocket.Chat, Nextcloud, and Fabulor talking about how to use the integration and what you can do with it, and of course, answer most of your questions probably. Here is also, you will see here, a call to action if you want to register now. And yeah, that's basically it. As I said, thank you all for joining us and for your time in listening to us. We will see each other at some other webinar probably. Enjoy the rest of the day, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Maria.
Marina.
To Chris.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.